Back to the breaking news on General Motors. We told you moments ago the CEO of GM, Mary Barra, was expected to meet with White House Economic Advisor Larry Kudlow, and our own Blake Berman says that will happen at some point today. We're not sure of the exact timing, but it comes after GM's announcement of job cuts and restructuring. So very, very interesting. He's also apparently going to be calling members of Congress to talk about all of this. And let's bring Lisa Copeland in, Women in Automotive Board of Directors member. Lisa, good to see you. And it's a big story from General Motors. They're going to focus more on electric, focus more on autonomous vehicles, even though they're getting rid of the Chevy Bolt, I believe. But Mary Barra's going to go into Larry Kudlow's office and say what, do you think, about all that?
You know, I think anytime you lay off, 15,000, potentially, 15,000 people in your workforce, I think you're going to have to do some explaining. But I think she's doing the right thing by the shareholders and by the automotive dealers.
Right.
The demand just isn't there right now. And so it doesn't do any good to build all these cars.
Right.
And there isn't any demand for them because somebody has to pay for them every month.
Why
right?
not?
It'll either be the factory or the dealers.
What's leading to that? Because we do have stories of an economic slowdown all over the place. And by the way, General Motors is being rewarded in the market for this because they're getting out ahead of it. They're cutting their costs. We understand that. A lot of times stocks go up when jobs go down. We've seen that over and over on Wall Street. But why not? What's leading to the drop in demand?
Well, I think what's leading to the drop in demand isn't as much the industry as it is the sedans themselves.
Yeah.
We've been seeing that for the last couple of years, and many auto manufacturers have quit building them, or at least have started phasing them out of the build plans. So none of that's surprising. But to your point, I think that she's getting out ahead of it, and so therefore, she's being rewarded by the market. So it's going to be interesting what happens at the White House today and what those meetings are going to look like.
Well, the jobs is the issue, right? You don't want. And I'm sure this is where you'll get pushback politically, is that it's great to be more efficient. It's advantageous to get out ahead of something. It's good to see trends in business, but the concern is going to be on the job side.
Yeah, no, and it's absolutely a concern because from what my research shows is that, a lot of people were offered early retirements and they decided not to take it. So, she's got a situation on her hands for sure, depending on, how many people actually take the package and how many they're going to have to lay off. And I guess the question becomes, what happens to those jobs? Now, not all of them are U.S. jobs. Right. I think about 2/3 of them are in the U.S. and then a third of them are in Canada. So it's going to be interesting, but I have a lot of faith in Mary Barra. So I think that she's going to maneuver this thing well.
How does the president's trade war play into all this in terms of, will that come up, and what's GM's pushback, or what do you think the discussion will sound like there between politicians, or just between Larry Kudlow and Mary Barra on trade? By the way, ahead of G20, big meeting this week.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's anybody's guess. Of course, Mary Barra is coming out in the press saying that this is not a trade war issue or a tariff issue. At this point, it's strictly supply and demand. And the other thing I want to put out there is that with rising interest rates, the dealers are not able to purchase as many vehicles to put on their lots.
Right.
Because, so many dealers that I work with around the country, they have decreased their on-lot inventory from 15 to 25%. So if the dealers are not buying the cars from the factory, number one, and then you have a reduced demand from the consumer for sedans, I think that tariffs, they might have something to do with it, but I think right now, it really is supply and demand and rising interest rates. At least that's my prediction.
And we have very low gas prices, which,
very low,
grab yourself an SUV. Why not, right?
Grab an SUV, drive a truck, whatever it may be. It is lining up for the perfect storm for the demise of the sedan in the American car market.
All right, we'll stay on top of this, and we'll follow it throughout the afternoon with this meeting coming up. Lisa, good to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Larry Kudlow, Mary Barra, at some point today at the White House.